Hello YouTube. Thought I'd make a video on my HO scale cement plant. I've had this built for quite some time now. I've been wanting to make a video on it, and I'm just now finally getting around to it. But when I first started my layout, I purchased a bunch of these Intermountain cement hoppers. A few different road names. I really like these cars. And I like the smaller rolling stock on a layout just in general, because I think, in my opinion, just makes it more realistic on the layout. But I didn't have any provisions for a cement plant. That was an afterthought, really. I had purchased these cars first, and I'm like, well, I probably should have a cement plant on my layout. So I went ahead and had to add a little section onto the outside of my layout, and decided to get started on the Walthers Valley cement. I bought one kit, and I started putting it together, and this is I think the very first building that I put together when I started it. I did a little bit of modification on it. You can see that's, I kind of covered this up because I wanted the conveyor to come out this end. But, after I finished this, I started thinking to myself that, is this really, I was looking at the Valley Cement kit as a whole, and I was like, is this really what a cement plant looks like? So I started doing some research, and I decided, well, I'm going to go ahead and do a pretty extensive modification to this Walthers Valley cement. So I went ahead and also purchased the Walthers plastic pellet transfer facility. Basically, the reason I purchased this was I was going to use it in conjunction with the cement plant. I just wanted to use the silos, basically, and the ladders. So that's why I purchased this. And then I purchased the caged ladders and vents. I mainly just purchased it for the ladders, but I actually ended up using the vents as well, which when we get to that point, I'll show you what I used them for. But so like I said, I'd already started the Valley Cement, and I decided I wanted to change it up. So I ended up purchasing a second kit, and then a little later on, I was at a train show, and they actually had a Valley Cement kit that was opened, and I had purchased it as well, thinking I could use some of the spare parts. So I actually had 3 kits altogether. But you can, when I show you how I built this, you can get it done with just 2 kits. There's just a couple things that you would have to make out of styrene, which I'll point out, but you can get it done with just 2 kits. You don't really need 3. Let me show you the add-on that I had to make. Okay, I'm underneath the layout, and I just wanted to show you quickly this little section that I had to make, this triangular piece. It was 15 inches by 48 inches, and it was very simple to do, and it's just bolted on with 2 bolts right there, and then 1 bolt on the back. Let me go ahead and show you the actual cement plant. This here is a shot of the entire cement industry. And from that building on the far left all the way over to that building on the right is 6.5 feet. So the whole point that I was trying to convey with the Walthers Valley Cement was I wanted a cement plant that was more realistic than what was represented by the Walthers kit. Not intended to be 100% prototypical. but just something that was more feasible and more interesting than what the one single Walthers Valley Cement kit provided. Let's go ahead and move on to what each and every one of these structures does in the process of the cement manufacturing. All right, let's call this building number 1. In most cases, the cement factory is located right next to, or at least really close to, the actual rock quarry where they blast for limestone, but in not all cases. So for my cement plant, let's just pretend that the actual rock quarry is a few miles away. They blast for the limestone, at which point then they dump it into a series of crushers in order to reduce the raw material to a more manageable size. From there, they truck it to this building here. Once here at this building, the process is what they call pre-homogenization, which basically all that means is they start blending the raw material to a more uniform product. And in real life, this building here is much, much larger than what's represented by this Walthers kit. But again, we're not striving for 100% prototypical here. Just a representation of that beginning of that process. Let's go ahead and move on to the next structure. Okay, structure number 2. We have a lot going on right here. The raw material is fed into this building where it is further milled into an even finer material. And it is also at this point where they will add other things to the composition to make it just perfect. And those, what they call corrective additives, are usually in the form of iron ore, sand, and clay. And that's what I have these 3 silos here to represent, where they would hold iron ore, sand, and clay. Now, does it look like this in real life with silos that look like this? Probably not, but I just wanted something that made sense. Basically just using my imagination with this Walthers kit. But basically the final product in here is what they call raw meal. So the raw meal is, the way I kind of designed this in my head was the raw meal would come up this conveyor right here and into this large silo back here, which is called the raw meal silo. And that is where the final homogenization process occurs. So once that's done, it would come back up this conveyor and into the preheater. There is a number of terms that they have for this structure right here: preheater, cyclone preheater, calcinator. There's a number of terms they have for that, but basically what it does is begin the breakdown of the raw meal before it goes into the kiln. Okay, here's a front and side view of the structure number 2 and the suspension preheater. Now here are the 3 silos that I used from the Walthers plastic pellet transfer facility kit. And that's why I bought that kit, so I could use these. There's actually 4 silos that I've used from that kit, but right here I used 3 of them, and the ladder. The large silo in the back, the raw meal silo, is just made out of PVC, and this long ladder here came from the Walthers cage ladders and vents kit that I showed you at the beginning of the video. This preheater was 3D printed. I purchased that from someone off of eBay. I was originally going to try to scratch build a preheater. It would have looked much more basic than that, but I had actually bought the styrene and everything. I was doing extensive research, and I just stumbled upon this. I just, before making this video, I went onto my eBay history and looked up that seller, and I clicked on him and just to see if he was still selling these, and he's not. So, and that was quite a while ago. So I don't know if you'd be able to get this particular 3D print or not, but I feel lucky to have it, because I sure as heck wasn't looking forward to scratch building something like that. But again, it's 1/80th scale, and it actually just happened to fit on top of this building just perfectly. So I feel I got lucky with that one. These here are the conveyors that I, again, just used my imagination. Use those from the Walthers Valley Cement kit. And then the only other modification to this structure was the roof. That's not the roof that comes with the kit. This is just made out of styrene. I had to put some styrene strips here to support this roof. And then, of course, I just kit bashed this little door access out of spare pieces from the Walthers Valley Cement. Okay, the next step is the rotary kiln. So the raw meal goes through the suspension heater and into the rotary kiln, where it's heated at an extremely high temperature, where at the very end of the process, it's turned into what they call clinker. It then drops down into this structure, which I'll call building number 3, where the clinker is then rapidly cooled. So again, just using my imagination with the Walthers Valley Cement kits that I purchased, I scratch built this little, I guess we'll call it a maintenance building or a maintenance shed. And then these platforms here, again, I just scratch built those out of styrene pieces. Turned out really good, I think. This building number 3 was, again, I just kit bashed using spare pieces from the kit. I know I just wanted something that was lower to the ground, that represented the cooling of the clinker. Those vents that I was telling you about that came with this caged ladder and vents kit, that's where I got the idea to use these vents as the coolers or blowers, maybe. Again, is that what it looks like in real life? Probably not even close, but all I was doing was using my imagination, using the pieces that I had to come up with something that would make this interesting and, you know, something that would at least make sense. All this is here is a very large concrete storage silo for the clinker. Once the clinker is cooled, it is sent up here through a conveyor and then just dropped in to the storage area. And as you can probably tell just by looking at it, it is simply made by a large funnel. Let me see if I can actually show how this looks. But it was just a large funnel purchased off of Amazon, I believe. And model glue or CA glue isn't going to work on this type of plastic, so I had to epoxy. This is just a piece of styrene cut into a circle to fit the top of this. Actually, I had to cut a piece of this funnel off at this point, but then again, just cut a piece of styrene to fit, and I had to epoxy this on here, which I hate using epoxy, but sometimes you have no choice. But just once that was done, just sanded and painted and weathered, and then I just kit bashed this little conveyor shed, again from extra pieces from the multiple kits I had. On to building number 4. The clinker from the storage silo is fed into this building, where it is ground into an extremely fine powder. There are a few other additives at this point. They are all minor, with the exception of gypsum. This is the stage where gypsum is added to the mixture, which is a very important mineral. The reason they add gypsum is it's as a retarding agent. It helps reduce the set time of the cement to give it a longer time to work with. So again, a very important piece of the manufacturing process here. I have that represented by this silo right here, which was the 4th silo from the plastic pellet transfer facility kit. I kind of envisioned maybe a truckload of gypsum would be dumped into this bay area, conveyed up, and then just stored in this silo here. From there, the Portland cement, the final product is called Portland cement, is fed to the back silos for bulk distribution by rail car, where it's shipped all across the country, or to the right, where it is bagged and sold that way. We'll talk about that building here in a little bit. Let me go ahead and give you a 3D view of this building here. See if I can take these conveyors off, get this building. Again, just kit bashing a building. This is the main building right here, which is exactly the same as building number 1, but I didn't want it to look the same. So that's why I kind of created this structure by just kit bashing pieces that I had. My goal with this structure was just to make it look different than the other structures on the plant. Let's move on to the next structure. This last building here is supposed to represent where bulk cement is dropped into this building by conveyor, where it is then bagged and then palletized and stored in this warehouse here. Where it is then shipped across the country by truck. But we also have openings in the back here. I have some doors where it can be shipped out by rail as well. As you could probably guess just by looking at the structure here, this building here is a Rick's Products Pike Stuff building. It is called the Motor Freight Terminal, and it's part number 541-5001. And I believe the model is a little longer than this. I had to actually kit bash this as well to make it fit what I was doing. This platform here does not come with the kit. It is scratch built with styrene. And then the roof on this part of the building right here, as Walthers is notoriously known for, they often will include parts in a kit that you do not need for the kit. Parts that are similar to those in other kits that they include, but are not part of the kit they're actually selling in the box. So I wanted to use it just because it was different. So this little section of this building here is part of the kit. This roof is part of the kit, but the walls, these walls here, are just made out of styrene. Again, I have openings on both sides where the bagged cement can also be shipped out using rail car. Again, is this a prototypical building? I would say probably not. Again, as I've said, all I was trying to do was make another structure that was interesting and a little bit different. So let's go ahead and talk about the silos there that are in the back. Just a moment. There are the cement storage silos right there. And the only modification that I did to this structure was I added this platform, which I scratch built. And then, of course, the ladders from the ground to the platform, and then from the platform to the top, which of course came from the caged ladders and vents kit from Walthers. But I mean, let's just call it what it is. This is actually the Medusa cement kit from Walthers. I think Walthers got lazy and they're like, well, let's make a larger Valley cement kit, but just, you know, save money and just use the Medusa cement with it. I mean, it would be cool if they came up with an original cement plant, maybe even a modern cement plant, a whole new kit, a large kit, but I guess that would be wishful thinking. But anyway, Medusa cement, in my opinion, should be called Medusa concrete, because I believe the Medusa cement industry is supposed to represent a concrete industry. I believe these structures on top of this building are where aggregate is supposed to go and then dropped in, mixed with the cement, where the final product is concrete, where it's then shipped out by truck. So the Medusa cement industry is, it receives cement by rail car and exports concrete by truck. Whereas my cement plant makes the cement, stores the cement, and then ships out the cement by rail. I guess also by truck as well, because it has the doors to represent that on the bottom of the structure. But so with that being said, I really should have left these structures here on top of this building. I should have left those off. Those are not needed for this application. Why did I leave it on there? Because of the interest factor. It looks cool. I mean, it's a interesting structure. So even though it's not realistic for my application, I opted to leave them on there. Just, again, I think it looks cool. So when I was doing research, when I was building this kit, part of the kit right here, there's quite a few videos on the Medusa cement kit on YouTube. And actually, I mean, when you're looking up layouts, when you look up different layouts on YouTube, I mean, this kit is very popular. It's just like always there on every layout, which, you know, it's for good reason. It's, like I said, a very interesting structure. But when I was doing the research, none of the videos really showed the intricacies of the piping and all these structures on top of this building and what have you. So let me go ahead and show you that now. Let me remove those silos from the back of there, and so we can get a better look of the top of that building. Just 1 second. Okay, let me see if I can give you a little better view of these silos. I forgot to mention one other modification. Simple modification was that door right there on that conveyor shed. That was added by me. Very interesting structure. Okay. So let's get ready to go ahead and wrap up this video. Okay, real quickly, I wanted to go over the paints and powders that I used for this build. So for any of the metal structures, primed it first with just this Rust-Oleum gray primer, which I pretty much use for everything, but gray primer followed by chrome silver. Now I have both of these cans here to show you a difference. The one you want to use is the one that says chrome, and it'll say silver on the back, so it'll be paint number 352617 with UPC ending in 45355. That's the one you want to use. The one you don't want to use is this one here. It says the paint number is 1290T. You don't want to use this one because it comes out a very bright silver that looks more like chrome. This here is more of a silver, a subtle silver metallic over the gray primer, and it turns out well. On the metal buildings then, all I use for weathering is the Doc O'Brien's Dirty Brown. Any of the concrete buildings, I used Testers Light Aircraft Gray, followed by a combination of Bragdon weathering powders, Grimy Gray and Weathered Brown. Now, these Bragdon powders, when you order them, they come, well, at least when I ordered them, they came in these cheap plastic little containers that were all cracked from shipping. There was powder all over the place, so I bought these spice jars and then just transferred them into these jars. So just as a side note, the only other paint that I don't have sitting here that you will need is you'll need another primer, but a rust colored primer. So I used the Rust-Oleum primer that was the rust color. I used that for the kiln. And then I just used Doc O'Brien's Highlight White to weather the kiln and lighten it up. The only other colors I used were like 2 or 3 shades of gray for the piping on top of that Medusa cement silos. But as far as all the major buildings, all I used was basically these 2 colors. Okay, I thought I'd just finish this video with one final sweep of the cement factory. Kind of give you a top-down view as I'm standing here on the stool. One other thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about this preheater was I did a lot of research trying to find out when exactly did we start first using these suspension preheaters, and I really couldn't get a definitive answer. I thought I had come across something where it was first used in the early 70s, and I was curious because my layout is we'll say, 68 to 72, the Burlington Northern merger. And I was just curious if these were even used then. If anybody knows the answer to that question, please leave a comment because I'm very curious. That first building, number 1 there, I'm pretty much decided that I am actually going to not use that structure. I'm going to take it off because it's getting too crowded over here. I think right there where that building's sitting, I think I'd rather have like a parking lot and a footbridge that crosses the track. So in my mind, I'm thinking about a parking lot that will serve both the cement plant and the brewery. I don't know. It just seems a little crowded right there. So more than likely, I'm probably just gonna start with this one here and call it good. Not 100% decided yet, but all right, guys, that's all I have. I appreciate you watching, and until next time.